Today on Down with Dedee, my mom will be having a conversation with Kimberly Meredith.
Kimberly, thank you so much for coming on my show. I am so excited because I follow you on Instagram. I know you follow me, and my old publicist gave me your book. And so I saw you on Gaia. We both just mentioned Coast to Coast, which I grew up with. I mean, from the moment I think he was on, I was listening to it. So when you said yes to coming on my show, I got so excited because I just think that people like you are really important, especially now, you know, in the times that we're in, because I think we do need to be more enlightened and, just kind of like taking a breath and ignoring the noise and keeping your poise and getting back to kind of one center, whatever that might look like, whether it's through your religion or spirituality or whatever, right?
Absolutely. Thank you for
Yeah.
having me here.
Oh, girl. Yeah, you are. Oh, first of all, let's talk about your book. You have a book. Earlier,
I do.
what's the name of your book?
I do have a book. I channeled my book. So I'm a channeled writer. So
Uh-huh.
I write everything from my guides. I have a lot of spirit guides that come through
Hmm.
me. And I started channeling after my two near-death experiences I had back in 2013,
Yeah.
and never thought I'd be an author. And I after I recovered from the two NDEs that were pretty horrific, I was still in a wheelchair, and I started hearing messages coming through and started recording the messages and came up with 288 pages of a book called Awakening to the Fifth Dimension,
Mm.
Discovering the Soul's Path to Healing, and never thought it'd become published.
Mm.
And it's here now. And also it's narrated by my own voice, and it's out on audio, which the audio is really rocking it.
All
And
right, I love it.
helping people to awaken to their own abilities and who they really are right now, because we're living in a third dimensional world, which is really thick and dense. And people want to awaken to this higher dimensional frequency.
Girl, you're so right. I have so many of my guests come on, and we all are talking about the same thing. We're all talking about there's this like it's not even say I'm not going to say a new movement. I'm going to say that movement is just becoming we're becoming more aware of it now than ever because I think we really need it now, right? Positive thinking and the love in your heart and energy and frequency and coming to and that we're all connected. But I kind of just believe that we need to start moving past social stigma on people who've had experiences, right? That are their truth.
Absolutely. Like you said, it's always been here. I was born with paranormal abilities and healing gifts since I was a child, and they just happened to wake up fully after the two near-death experiences. And I was discovered at many expos and retreats, and right out of my living room after my NDE, and I started doing the healing with my hands, like I did when I was a baby. And more people were being healed by my energy healing. And I got taken to several big scientific research institutes so they could actually test my healing abilities to see if they were really real. And
Because
lo and
you were really healing people with your energy. And of course, modern day doctors, scientists were saying, no, this must be a fluke. They wanted to explain it away again, correct?
yeah, because there's Reiki, and then there's proof that cysts and tumors can dissolve and be gone. And that was what was happening with me. I was actually doing an energy called scalar energy, which is releasing it out of the body in a higher dimensional frequency, which is the fifth dimension. And also with my eyes that blink and scan people, I was doing a type of mediumship that they hadn't seen before. And they found me in New York City doing this at this healing retreat I was doing. So then they flew me to see one of the biggest neurosurgeons that was testing lots of psychics and mediums. And then he did a double blind test on over 12 people. And then I got flown to the Ions, which is a very big institute
I
that
know.
Edward Mitchell ran. They did several testing on me, and that's all in the book. And now what I do is I go through people's bodies and I can find where you have all kinds of ailments inside of you that maybe you don't even know you have. So I'm like kind of like a little puppy dog. So like if you're at a big event or just one-on-one, if you have like cancer or different types of immune suppressed conditions, I'll get like a hot flash. And then not only do I know if you have it, I know the root cause of how you got it, and then what connected you to it and how long ago you had it. And then so this is something that not only I have it, but people can also develop this, my guides say. And what's going to happen is this is going to keep speeding up for people in the next 5 to 10 years. More people will start developing these sort of intuitive skills.
Yeah. I absolutely love that, and I'll tell you why. I am such a big supporter of people um, stopping, taking a big breath, and I say this in every episode: ignore the noise, keep your poise. And if we get back to our authentic selves, we are quite powerful. We are quite dynamic. It's almost endless what we can do. But when society or just classic conditioning as a child tells you that none of that's possible, you grow into an adult thinking, well, what you see is it. And I'm like, like you, I'm like, no, it's more than that. And that can scare some people. But I think that, like I said, there's a new movement of people who are not scared anymore. They're like, bring it on, Felicia, let's go.
Yeah, it's so cool that you're saying that, because when the publisher, so my book has been published by Hay House, St. Martin's Press, Macmillan, and all of them published it. But the funny thing is, when they first found out about this girl that has eyes that blink and communicates with all these guides and spirits, and they were like, well, we have to come out and see this. So they flew out, they saw me at the expo. I was doing readings on like 300 people were in the audience, bringing people up on stage. And then I would do the reading on them. And then people would come in and I would hear like, oh, your mom's here, Mary. They're telling me that you have a lump on your breast. The person would go, yeah, I do. I say, do you want it removed? And they'd go, of course. I'd say, okay. The reason why the book's called Awake to the Fifth Dimension is because I would hear a voice say you're in the fifth dimension. And the woman would go, I'm in the fifth dimension. And then I'd put my hand out. I'd say, take a breath. And she'd go, and then we'd go like this. The whole room would go, and I'd put my hand, and she'd put her hand, and she'd go, and it would fly off. And then we'd put her hand back over it, and it was gone.
Wow.
And she'd go, I'm healed. And the whole room would go, like you see it like Dispenza, people are doing like the healing. So
oh yeah, that's vibration too. Yeah.
Yeah. And everyone, I'm getting chills right now. Everyone in the room would go, ah. And so what happened, the editor of St. Martin's goes, we're flying you to New York. So I flew to New York and I had a meeting there. It was so exciting. And he says, do what you did there. And so then I did readings at everybody at the publishing house. And I knew he had certain issues with him. And he was like, yeah. I said, oh, your tooth had a problem. It's your appendix. He goes, yeah, you're right. And then so the readings is one thing, but the healing's another.
Yes.
So I did all that. So I'm a medium and a healer. And then by the time I got home, I said, I shouldn't have said this because, you don't do that when you're at, kind of like auditioning there. I said, did I get the book deal? He goes, we can't tell you this right now. And so anyway, I said to my agent, I said, how did it go? He goes, you got 3 of them. I said,
I love that.
the interesting thing is that my since the day that I got admitted to the hospital and I had my horrible near-death experience, and I was told I was never going to walk again, and I'd be for life in my wheelchair, to right now speaking to you, talking about the awakening and everything that's going on. This is God's plan. This is the omnipresence plan. And they're telling me they want everybody to learn this. They want everybody to understand that they can have these healing abilities.
I love the fact that you just said God, yet you're talking about spirituality. You're talking about a lot of things that do go together. And I think sadly, once again, in this country or whatever in the world, it's like either one or the other. And I think that's one reason why people who are, I think, religious are afraid of spirituality and the things we're talking about as if we're attacking their God. And it's like, no, honey, your God is very much involved with all of this, whatever God it is that you believe in, if it's a good one, right?
You are so correct. And sometimes people, when they read this book, Awakening the Fifth Dimension, they say, it's not a book about religion. I talk about Jesus, I talk about the Holy Spirit, and I talk about how God is love. And when we accept our brothers and sisters and we serve, some people say, well, how do you stay healed? You stay healed by serving others and loving others and doing the work of service, like you're doing the show right now. This is serving, this is helping others.
Thank you, Kimberly. And that's how we keep sober when we're in recovery. Recovery is all about giving back. You know, it's not like getting your own butt sober from whatever your DOC drug of choice was, is the very teeny part of it. The bigger thing is giving back. Anyone can be a dry drunk, right? But really, it's an opportunity to become a better person, a bigger person, a deeper, richer person, more enlightened person, whether that's through religion or spirituality or both. It's an opportunity, right?
Absolutely. When so right on. I lost my mom young. She was struggling with alcohol and drug abuse
Mm,
whole life. She was sober for, only 8 years out of my whole life. And our relationship was really tough.
yeah.
And at the end of her life, she passed away because she, used her last day and she overdosed. And our relationship now from the other side
Mhm.
is healed. And part of the relationship is that she shows up healing other people of past karmic issues that they're having with their loved ones from the other side. I see the infinity sign, the number 8, over people's heads. When they're having an issue with a family member that has crossed over, I will see the 8. I'll say, your mom has crossed over or your dad or a relative. And they'll say, how do you know that? I'll say, I see the 8 over your head, the infinity sign. And they're
Yeah.
coming in to heal a past karmic wound. They'll say, you're correct. And it's my mom coming in, helping and wanting to heal people with my work.
I love that. And you know something? I don't think you're crazy at all because that happened to me when I was in Colombia. I don't even know how in the hell I ended up in Colombia. It's a long story. 7 day. I thought I was going to British Columbia, like up Canada, a few hours up. I'm going across the world to Colombia. It's a long story. So I thought, I guess I'm supposed to go. My friend Kenny, who I lost to AIDS in the 80s, 90s, we always talked about before he went to the other side when he left his earth body. I always said, dude, make sure you let me know you're okay. And he'd say, I'm going to mess you up so bad. You'll be walking down the street and you'll be talking to yourself and you'll be hitting the air because I'll be smacking you on the head and people will think you're crazy. I said, I don't give a fuck if people think I'm crazy or not. Please let me know that you're okay because I don't have anything else to go by to know you're okay because I don't have religion. At that point, I lost really far away from my spirituality. I never really had one to begin with, if you really want to go there. And he said he just promised he would find a way to let me know he was okay. So it took me years to become open enough
Yeah.
to hear him because he was showing himself to me like crazy. But we just, like I said, we get dizzy and busy in the day in and day out of life.
Yeah.
When I really was able to calm down and get sober, he came to me like I've never seen, and he wrapped himself around me, helping me wrap myself around somebody else, healing another person in Colombia. And I'd never experienced anything like that. And it sounds insane, but you know what's so beautiful? I don't care if people think I'm crazy or not. It's my truth. It happened, and I love it.
Yeah. This is very interesting, Dee. Signs and symbols and numbers are my next book, Soul Frequencies, because they show up the afterlife in the numbers and frequencies. And here's one more thing that happened. When my mom crossed, her death was really hard on me. And when we buried her, my grandma wanted to put the cross on her stone. And I wanted, because I always was psychic, I knew as a young girl, she was going to come back. And I asked to put the infinity sign on her
Yeah.
tombstone. And now but I never knew I'd be doing this work. And now that's what's showing up. It's the thread of the infinity sign, which we never die. And loved ones from the other side, this is very important. They do want to come back and heal us and help us and awaken us. And I feel in the next 10 years, 2033 is going to be the biggest awakening and ascension of our time. And this is the time to move us forward and to embrace the next 10 years. use this time to heal up. And
Yeah.
it's a good time for us right now.
I absolutely love your positivity. Thank you so much, and I'm gonna tell you why. Sometimes I feel like the world is. I said to my sons the other day, and I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself for people who are listening to this podcast, but I'm sorry. The other day I was very edgy, and finally, I said, what is up with you? I go, I'm exhausted from trying to save the world from itself. And they're like, whoa, that's quite a big day, Mom. They're like, why don't you go upstairs with the cat and the dog? And just kick your feet up. And then I realized I care so much about the world, and I'm so positive in the sense that I'm not giving up on mankind. I'm not giving up on Mother Earth because she is my higher power. And I'm not going to give up on us as connected individuals and energies and frequencies and the love that I know we have in our hearts, and we could heal with that and open up to those on the other side. I just feel there's no stopping us. And sometimes I feel like I'm talking to the wall until I talk to people like you who go, "Oh, honey, I get you. Thank you.
I
Thank you
do.
for being you."
Thank you so much. You have a lot of fives around you, like 555, which is 5, 5, and 5 is the Christ light. It's the Christ consciousness. So the Christ consciousness is a very strong energy right now, which is, some people say, when is Jesus coming? When are we having, you know, this big awakening? We're already having it. It's
Yeah.
already here. And that's why we see so much 3D going on, so much fear, so much worry, so much anger sometimes, so much like dense energy, because the Christ light is emerging. So when I look at you, I see a lot of fives and I see the three, which is the confirmation of Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, the Trinity. So the Trinity comes at you and confirms the God Christ consciousness energy, the light. So sometimes a negative can come at you, which can come bursting at your energy, but the Christ and the three Trinity moves it out. So you come in to bring the positive energy back, which is really cool. And then you're number 4 here, which is you're an angel.
Oh,
You're the fourth
I don't
number.
think my ex-husbands would call me an angel.
Well,
I'm
the
joking.
4 also represents that you like to serve and help. And also the 5 represents creativity.
Oh,
And people that are in the 5 number, I'd like to say something very important to you, belong in the 5th dimension. You don't live in a 3rd dimensional world. You're not happy in the 3D world. You don't belong there. The 3rd dimension is depopulating. It's not going to make it past the next 10 years.
I agree. It's so weird.
And
I
so
hear a lot of people say that. They're like, there's a huge change coming. They can feel it, but they can't put their finger on it. They don't have words for it, but they all can feel it. And there's your book. And for those listening, she's showing us her book, Awakening to the Fifth Dimension.
they are. I'm a trans medium, so they're doing this with me, and they're saying, Dedee, they're saying, if you do happen to read it, it's a very quick read, or you can listen. It teaches you the pathway of living in the 5th dimension, meaning it's a very easy read. It's not like complicated. It's kind of like a Girl Scout read. I make it
Oh, I
really
like that. I have a reading disorder, so thank you for that. Right, and for people like me.
it's very easy. It like has simple things like your house needs, like don't have a shower where you're breathing in um, water that's 3D. So like most of my clients still drink tap water, or they'll have a shower with a filter. They're breathing in steam that's filling their lungs up with pollution. That's 3D. So when I say depopulating, a lot of people think it's okay to still drink out of plastic. That's 3rd dimensional. So people are still getting really sick. 3rd dimensional world are those types of things. So I make it very clear what 3D water is. There's a book called chapters called Water That Can Save Your Life. So I talk about 3D food, 3D water. What's a 5th dimensional exercise? What's a 3rd dimensional exercise? So I make it very simple. And I do what meditation is to me. Everything is very clean and simple in the book.
I love that. I love what you've done. I love what you're doing for mankind right now. I absolutely love also, I just think that, I don't know why, but I think I know why. Kenny and I were like frickin' frack running around. He's this very tall, gorgeous gay man, and he was in his 30s, and I was in my 20s, and we ran around Hollywood back in the day in the 80s. And he was my best friend, and we'd pal around, and he'd go, "We're gonna go learn how to, what did he say? Meditate." This is back in the 80s. We didn't have what we have now, right? We would go, and then we didn't know what we were doing, and we'd make fun of each other, and we were just literally like little kids. So when I lost him, I felt like there was a part of me, and
Uh-huh.
when I meet people like you, I feel like I'm connected. Oh boy, here I go. Here, oh, this only happened to me once
They're
before.
coming, they're coming in and telling me you guys were soulmates. They're giving me the 8, and he's coming in and talking to me, and he's telling me you're going to see him again, and he says that you knew each other in many past lives. He's also telling me he said he had a hard passing.
Yeah, yeah, he did. It was
He did.
AIDS.
Yeah, he's
He was
giving me
young. He was in his 30s.
a
Yeah,
low number. I'm getting chills. Yeah, and he's telling me something about his lungs. It was hard to breathe at the end.
yeah.
But he's with the Holy Spirit. He's with Christ's light, and he's around you 7 days a week. He's giving
I
you,
know he is. I tell my boys that must have been Kenny. They're like, "Mom," they think I'm nuts, and I'm like, "I don't care if you think I'm nuts. I know."
yeah,
Kenny
he just
told me it
gave me
was
the number
okay.
7.
7.
Yeah, but meaning
What?
7 days a week. He's like with you 7 days.
Yeah. Um, and I forget that he's around me, and when I meet people like you, I feel like he is near me.
Yeah, he wants to come in the conversation pretty hard right now, and he wants to talk about your health. He's going on about something. That's okay.
Okay.
He's kind of chatty.
Oh, he's very chatty.
He wants to get involved in the conversation. Anyway,
No, what did he say about my house?
he's just talking about something about, I don't know. He's like saying something about a hip or a leg or something about on the side of your hip or something. I don't know why he's saying about something about a hip that had happened or something.
I My right hip hurts all the time. Yeah.
Talking about that.
Well, what does he have to say? What does he want me to do about it?
And but it's just really weird with me. Like sometimes he'll just say
That is
something
crazy.
about the health. He's saying your hip, that he knows about your hip, and that you need to put like he says, Kimberly, tell her about your gel and tell her that she could come to your office about your hips.
I'll come.
I do cold laser at the office. I swear to God, why would I know that? He's just telling me about your
Well, it's
hip.
weird because yeah, my right hip it acts up, and
Tell me
it's
about it.
osteoarthritis, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
Anyway,
God. So he's telling me to come to you. Let's do it, girl. You kidding me? I sleep with a heating pad. That's all I do.
yeah. So my cold laser is really easy. It's just a side thing. I don't really advertise anything about it. I got into doing that when I had my accident. I just love doing cold laser, but he's saying, um, take advantage of that. Don't have trouble with that.
But
He's very okay. So what happens when we cross? Because I've had that happen to me, because I had that near death experience. It's very light. It's beautiful. He feels really good. He likes being around you. He's a little bit nosy.
oh, he's always been nosy. Are you kidding me? Girl, you have no idea what he used to do to me. He used to throw me at men and say, "She's single." I'm like, "Oh my God, stop that."
He's also telling me one more thing. If it's
Oh,
okay, I'll just finish it. And then he says he's going to go. He's telling me something about, you can write it down. He's saying he's clapping like this, and he's saying angels. And he's saying, I like when you communicate with your angels. And he's saying that he's really happy about your community of family. He's going like this. I'm so happy you're communicating with family. And he's going like this with the angels. He's like making my hands like this. And he's putting
wow.
chills through me. And he's saying, I'm so happy about the family. And number 9.
9.
9 means like your pathway of community and family.
Yeah. My family and I have never been better in my entire life now that I'm 5
Yeah.
years sober and transparent, and they still see me as kooky, but it's a good, healthy kooky. They're like, okay, she's into alien and paranormal stuff, and we're not sure how we feel about that. Oh, speaking of that, Kimberly, do you believe in the paranormal? Yes or no, and why?
It's interesting, Dee Dee, you said that to me because I never did. before, but after I started doing like the expos and going out in the bigger communities, of all this, because I never was doing this before. This was
Yeah, I
brand
saw you on Gaia, my favorite channel in the entire world next to history, because they have Secrets of Skinwalker Ranch and Ancient Aliens. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And, this was brand new to my life, and all of a sudden I'm going to the expos and I'll be there this year again at the LA Conscious
Oh,
Expo.
can you get me in? Can you get me in? Can you get me in? Kenny and I'll go together. Give me two seats. He can sit on my lap.
Yeah, I'll be keynote there. I never really, you know, thought about it much. This is a new thing to my life. And now I do believe in this existence, absolutely. And I have had some interesting experiences. We could talk about that.
I bet. And, I've had a lot of people say either they've had their own personal experiences. I have. I was in New Mexico for 2 years. You bet. I had some really interesting things happen, but I also have never been more curious and open in my life than I have now that I'm sober. Because part of being in recovery is being mindful of when you're being resistant versus curious. And for those who are listening, not have the visual, resistance looks like put your hand in front of your face and look at the point of view you have of the world. It's pretty diffused, but when you open your hand with curiosity, you can see everything really clearly. Whether or not you like what you see or like what you're hearing or agreeing is not really what's important. What's important is to allow everything to come in, permeate your soul, let it kind of ruminate inside of you and see what lands and see what doesn't, and maybe shelf things. We don't have to judge them. Like, no, I'm not believing that. That's crazy. Because I personally, like I was just talking to another guest, I'm tired of social stigma of people who have these beautiful qualities such as yourself, or people in recovery like me. Yes, I'm a recovering alcoholic. There should be no shame or stigma around that, but there is. Like when people have had experiences, those are their experiences, and we have to stop explaining them away, right? Or making them out to be crazy.
I love that. So, for instance, I have a lot of friends with um, writing books about the alien disclosure. One of my best friends wrote a book called Making Contact. And for me, okay, so somebody like me, that a lot of doctors, and I have a huge clientele, they'll come to me, they'll say, had this mammogram, I've had this MRI. They still can't figure out what's wrong with me. So for someone like me, I'll go through the body in maybe 2 seconds and say, this, and this, and this, and this, and this. And this. For me, it's just, I'm born with this. This is a gift, and it gets better and better and better. Like playing piano, like being an actor, the more and more you work this tool in your brain, the faster you get, the better you get at it, and you could figure things out. And so with the alien ETs, extraterrestrials, the more we investigate it, the more we research it, thinking out of the box is important to understand and open our minds up to new ways, and not keeping ourselves closed-minded. Our brain and expanding information is important. And I think that this is something that we will find out very soon.
Yeah, we'll find out. It's a matter, are people going to choose to be scared because the government or your childhood or movies tell you to be scared of things you don't know? Because really, the only reason why fear is there to begin with is because movies have told you to be scared of aliens or anything that's paranormal, of the unknown. The boogeyman's out there, don't go outside. Or now the government's saying UAPs, they're a national security. I'm like, don't swallow that. If they've been around, which they have for a very long time, and they wanted to hurt us, they would have by now, and they haven't. So stop.
Um, my exposure to some of the situations that I have been in have
Yeah.
not been anything scary.
Right, right. And so people go, what about all these, da da da? I said, well, we do have to be careful before we loop everything into the paranormal, because some of this stuff is also manufactured for other reasons, which I won't get into. But I do think actually the actual experiences people have had that because I, like you, I follow all those people that you work with. And, what is it? Like 95% of things can be explained away. Absolutely. But there's like 5% that are absolutely unexplained. That's where I'm really curious. That's the
Yeah.
stuff I go, oh, that's fascinating.
You know what, Dedee, you're so cute. You know what? I've never been there before. I've spoken at a lot of expos, and I'm going to Omega Institute, which is at Rhinebeck to teach um, my techniques, Awakening to the Fifth Dimension, which is at Rhinebeck, New York, coming in September 9th. I'm going. But the one expo I have not been at, which you should go to with me,
Okay.
Contact in the Desert.
Oh,
All
yes.
the
Let's go together. We'll bring DJ and his boyfriend Nick. We'll all go. Oh
yes,
my God. Yes.
that is
Actually,
so fun. That's next year, and they don't normally have channels there, but I did talk to them, and I think I will be doing something there, and we will have a blast.
tell them you want to bring a crazy actress friend who's got a podcast, and I'll have them all on for sure.
They have the podcast right there, and,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
do the whole right from Contact in the Desert.
That would be, oh my God, I would love that. I just find the world right now, although very noisy and crazy, and there's a lot of dark going on, that's also very interesting and captivating and a new wave. There's like a lot of really good. I always try to express to people on my Instagram, before you only listen to all of the dark that's going on, news, et cetera, all the bad things that are happening in the world, I need you to also pair that with all the good stuff that's happening in the world. There are people who are doing phenomenal things in the world, and we need to make sure that we are aware that they exist as well. Don't you think?
Absolutely. There are more, they say to me right now, channeling, I'd say probably 65% more light workers coming in right now and breaking headway to help change the world. When I first wrote Awakening the Fifth Dimension, there was only like maybe 25 thousand people on TikTok. I think now they're up to like 5 million people following the fifth dimension
Yeah.
and dimensional consciousness. Um, so many young Gen Zs and
Hmm.
young kids, they don't want to hear anything negative. We always want the positive vibes going. We just, for me, because I'm a trans channel, um, because I can go through people in like 2 minutes and find cancer, where if you go to a mammogram or a scanning machine, they may miss it.
Yeah.
I and then also we can do such great healing and go through like, so somebody's taking like different types of vitamins or supplements, and maybe they've been doing it for a year and there's no change in the body.
Yeah.
You can go and help people progressively move faster. There's these types of things that you can do. There's so many different modalities now to help
Yeah.
move people into different types of healings. There's just so much to look forward to. So where we hear so much negative news, I
Hmm.
say if people cut back maybe even 15 to 20% of watching the negativity, their brain will enhance. Even just not even keeping the phone next to your brain or in the same room at night when you go to sleep, it's going to help you.
Yeah. I
I mean,
agree.
cancer has, started to really take over a lot, in the third dimensional world, but it can actually be alleviated if you start living in more of a higher dimensional frequency lifestyle.
Yeah. I
People are
love that.
age reversing right now.
Yeah.
Somebody that's in their 70s and 80s that lives more in a fifth dimensional consciousness, not only eating and taking vitamins and drinking well, but meditating 5 to 15 minutes a day and boosting your immune system with the spirituality, you are going to live to at least 100 years old or more.
I completely agree. I always tell my boys, I'm going to go to at least 100, maybe 150. I ain't going anywhere really soon. They're like, oh, Jesus.
After the 1950s, when they started making TV dinners and all the soy
Yeah.
products and all of that
Taking
happened,
fiber out of food because it didn't taste good and all this silliness. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's when people started getting really sick.
It's
So we
so
tell
true.
people to start drinking like Mountain Valley spring water that the out of the glass. And like the old days when you put the glass outside and they came and pick it up like the milkman.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because I do talk about this a lot with my kids. We're trying slowly to become zero waste. It is really difficult, but not impossible. It's like I said to my boys and my friends and my family, we're all trying, we're all slowly finding ways, to pull it back, be mindful. And I said it didn't happen overnight. It's not going to change overnight, but if we can at least be mindful that we don't want to continue to add to all of this shit that we're producing in the world, that we're Mother Earth is going, what are you doing? And then the poor whales are eating it, and then they're beaching themselves with thousands of gallons of plastic in
Yeah.
there. Oh, I just dumped over my,
Well,
my coffee.
no, but you know what's weird, Dee? The other day, I didn't mean this, but sometimes I'll say something and it'll happen. But I was at Rite Aid and I said, I really wish Rite Aid would stop carrying all this plastic. And then the other day, my girlfriend's like, do you know Rite Aid is bankrupt now? And they're shutting all the Rite Aids down. And I was like, oh my God.
I got to ask you, I cannot wait for this answer.
Okay.
Kimberly,
Yes.
and I have no idea. I'm so excited. What animal would you like to be reincarnated as if you could, and why?
You know, that's one of my favorite things because when I first got my gifts, um, I was put under and I had a spirit animal with a really cool shaman. And the animal that came to me would be the animal I would want to come back as because this animal jumped on my chest,
Mm.
was running on me and pushing down on me really hard. And I couldn't get it off of me. And it was a white horse, a beautiful white horse.
Oh,
And it was the shaman that did the drumming who put me under was Amanda Folger. I don't know if you know her. She was very close to the man that wrote The Way of the Shaman, Michael Harner. And she said, that is a purity symbol, a God symbol, the horse, the strong energy. And when I feel like I'm being wavered or I'm getting off kilter or something, I'll call in my spirit animal of the white horse.
who do you think this big bad guy is behind me? For those listening and can't see it, I have a huge picture of a male lion. He's my spirit animal. He came
I
to me
love that.
when I was in rehab. I had real troubles with my monkey mind and calming down. They tried to get me to meditate. I was like, "Have we met?" I'm bouncing off the walls. They're like, "Okay, just sit there, just try to be quiet, if anything." Right? And long story short, this for some reason this male lion kept flooding to just came right at me and would stop in my when my eyes were closed. And then I this happened a few times. I finally asked, and they were like, excuse me, that's your spirit animal. I was like, but I'm a Capricorn. It shouldn't be a goat. They're like, no, no, no. So I finally thought, wait a minute, I have a spirit animal. And all of a sudden, when I gave into that whole idea, I felt really safe. I
Yes.
felt really safe. I said, I don't know why. I couldn't explain it, but I went, I have a spirit animal and I'm going to be okay. Isn't that crazy? I can't explain it. Yeah.
There's nothing like having a spirit animal with you. And that's funny because I'm Leo the lion. And
Oh,
funny because I saw that behind you. I was like, that's so beautiful. And I do feel that that is your spirit animal. Absolutely.
yeah, he's one sexy big bad boy. If he can calm this woman's butt down, he's quite an animal.
No,
Kimberly,
there's
I'm
nothing harder than recovering from I spent my whole life I felt like with my mom being her sister, her mother, helping her. The saddest day of my life is when she passed. And yeah,
I know, and you know something, people like me are giving people like your mom a voice. And I'm going to do some of the work that at that time when she was here, people weren't doing because no one was really open to it. And now this is one reason why I started down with Dedee, just to have conversations with people about whatever, warms their heart. And also let other people know you can do whatever you want with your sobriety. And it doesn't even have to be recovery. It can be, some people sometimes just wake up out of nowhere and go, I want to change my life. I am so done with this life. That was what we would call a bottom, where you say, enough, I'm done. And you take a left hand turn and you jump on another freeway in your life. right? And you don't have to be an addict or anything like that to experience that change, that trajectory, because it starts with one little movement and then you're off and you're in a different direction. And
Yeah.
I'm so excited to have met you. I'm excited. People, you're going to see us out there in all these places. We're going to be, yep, you're going to see us together out there. And we're going to be
Yeah.
we're going to be shaking it up. Kimberly, thank you so much for coming on
Thank
my show.
you.
I really appreciate you.
This was wonderful, really wonderful. Helping people, awakening them and getting them into that higher dimension and healing. So thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you too. Have a beautiful day.
God bless you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
For more information on today's guest, check out the show notes below or visit our website at www.downwithdedee.com.